Today we have Cindy O'Connell with Ash Desai, Todd Zeller, and Brett Jeffries from Tierpoint to discuss IT disaster recovery services. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. So my name's Cindy O'Connell. I am the channel overlay covering the Midwest region. On the line, we've got Todd Zeller, who's our senior client account executive, who's in St. Louis. Brett Jeffries, who's also a senior client account executive out of Kansas City. And then Ash Desai, who is our senior solutions engineer, and he is in Chicagoland area with me. So thanks for having us today. As we get into this, we want to make sure we keep everything very interactive. So if anybody who posts a question in the chat or stops us and asks a question, we've got virtual $10 Starbucks gift cards. So feel free to interrupt us at any time or post questions in the chat. And Todd, I'll give it to you to give an overview of Tierpoint for those who don't know who we are or could use a refresher.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Yep. So just a quick overview of who Tierpoint is before we really get into the meat and potatoes of it. We are looked at as a leading hybrid IT service provider. So, the title there. We're headquartered here in St. Louis. We do have 40 plus data centers coast to coast, and we have over 800 IT professionals. So with that, we have folks at every single data center, and then we have subject matter experts that sit on their respective teams. So, if we're working with folks on disaster recovery as a service, networking, virtualization, whatever it is, as they put in those tickets, they're going to be able to go to those folks and talk with them directly. We have thousands of customers, kind of a funny way of putting that, just under 6,000 clients. The breakdown there is about 30% of those clients utilize us for co-location, so just space and power, and then the other 70% utilize us for cloud services, be it in our data center or the public cloud. If you want, we can go to the next slide and I can just kind of go through a few of our services. So we affectionately call this our Jeopardy slide. It's pretty busy and we don't expect you to know all of this. This is just a really helpful slide to keep in front of you if you're jumping on a call with anybody, you're doing maybe a business review with the client, or you're just talking through a prospect, some of their needs and what they're planning on doing that year. If you see anything that pops up or you hear anything on that call and you see that it's on here, it's probably a good time to engage with us. And we can do that in numerous different ways. If you wanted to just give the rep a call, so myself or Brent Jeffries, we're more than happy to have that conversation with you, see if it's worth a call with the clients and go from there. Just to kind of high point some of our solutions though, I talked a little bit about a few of them already. So co-location is where we were born and bred. We've been doing that for about 20 years, where essentially our clients bring in their gear, they put it into our data centers. We offer the space, the power, and the physical security there. And that is kind of the gateway drug as well into the rest of our services. So once we do that, we can also talk to our clients about cloud. So obviously, I'm sure everybody's aware of Azure and AWS, the big guys out there. We can help out with that. So we can take that over, we can do the management on that, but we can also offer different flavors. So some clients say they don't want to go to the public cloud. They've got workloads that are prohibitive of going there. So, we can talk about dedicated hosted private cloud environments, which gives some of those former server huggers a little bit more of the warm and fuzzies, and we can help them out there. We also do VMware-based multi-tenant cloud. So a lot of different options there, and we can really go in and just pick and choose which one's going to be the best for them for their specific workloads. We do DR, so disaster recovery. That is just a solution that we wrap on top of our cloud, and we put some management around it. So it is going to be a fully managed solution where a lot of these teams that we talk to, they don't have a lot of IT folks, and being able to take some of that day-to-day non-sexy work off of their plate that really doesn't drive the business, that's going to be super helpful for them. We can handle their insurance plan, their DR, and let them really focus in at the application layer. One thing that we wrap around everything that we do is our managed services. So I touched on that a little bit before on the previous slide. We have those 800 IT professionals and can really take a lot of that day-to-day work off of their plate. So a lot of our clients find that to be extremely helpful, especially if they are wearing multiple hats, juggling a lot of balls. We can take some of those away from them and really let them focus on improving their IT department and not just maintaining it. So like I said, this is our Jeopardy slide. If you hear any of these buzzwords, feel free to reach out to us. We can always have that conversation, see if it is a good fit. We can go to the next slide as well.
And I just wanted to add that unlike maybe the competitors or other vendors out there like cloud providers, managed service providers, right? What you saw in the earlier slide, it's not, oh, we also do this kind of a thing. We actually have hardcore, practices and all those things. So the whole spectrum, the whole gamut that you saw, there are not portions of it that we only do like 1% of it or 2% only if we get a client once in a year, right? Those are the things that we actually do across the board, day in, day out. So, yeah.
Awesome. And just a quick reminder, Cindy's got some gift certificates that are burning a hole in her pocket. So if you have any questions, feel free. We can always take those on. So this slide here just talks about some of the hot topics in the news today. So things that we are seeing in just about every single conversation that we have with our clients. We don't expect you, once again, to be an expert on this, but if you hear any of your clients that are talking about it, let us know. It is always a really good starting point for us to have those conversations. So the first one is the Broadcom VMware news. So, you've been living in a cave, you might not know what's going on there, but basically Broadcom purchased VMware and has just jacked up all of their rates. I think I've heard of one client over the past few months that is actually saving money. That is not the case for anybody else. Everybody else their rates are going way up, and they're just trying to get creative of, hey, how do we bring that down, or how do we pivot to another solution? And you can see there we've got those alternative options of Nutanix, Azure Stack, public cloud, all of which we're able to help out with. So if you hear that your clients are getting that heartburn from that VMware tax increase or the Broadcom tax increase, let us know. We can always come in and have that conversation. The second one is generative AI and machine learning, another one that everybody's heard about. If you take a look at Tierpoint and our biggest clients over the past 12 to 24 months, it's all been AI companies. What they're basically doing is they're trying to just swallow up as much power as they can wherever they can find it, because the AI machines, they really are power hungry, and at their offices, they just don't have that power. So they come to data center companies to be able to get that. We just had a client that signed over the past 3 months over $1 million in monthly reoccurring. So you can put that one into your compensation plan and kind of figure out what that commission would look like, and then plan on potentially retiring early. So that's exciting stuff for everybody across the board. The third one is going to be ransomware. So once again, a very big topic. If there's anybody that's in IT that isn't fearful of ransomware, they're not going to be in IT very long. So Tierpoint is able to help out in multiple different ways. We can really help out on the front end with our security services to lock that front door and protect them from ever having ransomware get into their environment. But then we can also do it on the back end as well with our disaster recovery as a service. If ransomware would get in, how we're able to flush that out and keep those companies up and running so that they're not going to be affected by that attack. So these are really, really big topics. I'm sure if you would touch on any of them, some folks would have some opinions of them. And, we would always love to come in and talk about this amongst other things as well. I think that's it for me. Ash, are you picking up at this point?
Yeah, I can pick it up.
Awesome.
So, when we start with any sort of recovery process, right, the most couple of important thing is business continuity versus disaster recovery, right? A lot of time things are mixed up. They sort of go hand in hand. Business continuity obviously is an assessment, a plan of how do I keep my business running, right? Just so that there is no downtime, like nobody in production wants to have a downtime. Disaster recovery is what happens if the business goes down, right? So you can plan about business continuity all you want, but it's just a matter of time. It's more, it's not a matter of if, but it's when, your disaster does strike. It could be, people usually think it's an external force that usually causes a DR, but, statistics show that historically speaking, it's a user error, some silly, stupid thing that you do as a user. Sometimes you get an email that you think from internal, all those things that you see, right? Uh, you accidentally click on a link, you bring it down. There is a fiber cut there, doing some yard work outside. They accidentally cut something, fiber cut, it goes down. So a lot of silly things that could happen, but at the end of the day, DR strikes. What do you do about it, right? So um, there are tons of things that we could do, but essentially when you go and when you have a conversation about DR, right? The two most important things are your RPOs and RTOs, recovery point objective, recovery time objective. I'm sure you guys all know what RPO, RTOs are, but just to level set, we have the same definition. Essentially, RPOs is how much data can you lose, or is it okay for your business to lose before you get the whole red flag? And RTOs means how fast can you help me recover, right? So on a very simple term, like if you don't want to remember the whole thing, RPOs essentially means how frequently do you want to take my backups? So if you say I take my backup once a day, essentially your RPOs are 24 hours. You are okay if something happens, you go back to your last copy of your backup, you have to go back, or you may have to go back 24 hours because you take it once a day. You're okay losing 24 hours worth of data. That is your RTOs. RTOs usually are shorter than your RPOs. So people say, my RTO is 4 hours, 8 hours, which means that, yes, I can go back to my last backup, which is 24 hours back. But now that we have that tape backup in my hand, I hope not, but if it's a tape backup, you have it in your hand. Can you please help me recover in 8 hours? So how fast do you want to recover before the C level and your management comes going after you? That's your RDOs, right? So and when you handle all these things, you essentially say, you want to recover that, you do the data recovery. After you do the data recovery, you do some sort of a testing to validate that, yes, everything came back up fine. And that's when you hand over the keys back to the business operational team saying, you can start running it. Any questions, any on this side? So back in the day, it used to be that when DR happened, people didn't have money, right? They counted it more as an insurance. So they would be like, oh, out of my 100 VMs, only these 10 are most critical. Let's only bring those up. Or out of all the apps that I'm running, hey, only this my SQL or my SAP and one or two financial other applications, they are the most important. Bring them up, and we'll deal with the other later, right? But as technology evolved, as everything became instant, right, fast food, the shorter span kicked in, and now everyone wants everything right now, right? So every app is important. You ask a department saying, is it okay for your app to go down more than X hours? They'll be like, no, I may be just a card reader on the door, but it's the most important thing, that whole thing, right? So all apps are important. Everything must be 24/7. Every app is a business. And, yeah. And so when you go with that, that means that when you come up with a technology that supports it, you have to sort of adhere to all those things. You need to make sure we can bring all those things up. Again, I'm not going to go through all those things, but if you look at the top culprits, if you will, right, you will see that most of the thing is number one challenge for DR in any team is the knowledge skill, right? You may be an IT team, Usually, small, medium offices are, you have a limited team, a small team. They are supposed to do everything that IT related. So you can't expect them to do, monitor 24/7 security, also do backups in the middle of the night, also do DR, and also handle the IT, your day-to-day businesses, right? So you may have an IT team, but they're only, if they are database IT, then they only know databases, right? They are not, just because they're IT doesn't mean they also know this, that, and the other. So the top thing is the skills. If you want to go in public cloud, they have like 500 different apps for it. You're not expected to know all of them. As a managed service provider, we can come up with all those things. The same thing in recovery in cloud. The number one culprit, or the number one thing that you are needed more is recovery time. That's the most important thing. I need to bring it up as fast as I need to. The second would be data transfer migration. I have X amount of terabytes and I need it transferred in X minutes, right? Now we can bend the laws of physics. I can have 20 terabytes in 2 minutes. But what I could do is when I set it up in a way that there is an incremental replication so that your data is always in sync. So when disaster does strike, you have all the data ready, all the data hydrated. So any questions on this? Next slide. So yeah, with Tierpoint, we are not sort of a hammer looking for a nail. We don't have a one-trick pony kind of an approach where I have one solution, doesn't matter what you have, this is what you're gonna get, right? We are more like your toolbox or your Home Depot, if you will, right? You come in with different pieces. We can give you a hybrid mix of stuff. We can put the irregular jigsaw pieces and we can make a shape out of it, a solution out of it. So depending on the RTOs, RPOs that we talked about earlier, right? For your very basic stuff that I'm okay to have an RTO of X amount of days. If you are still doing it, we'll help you with the tape backup. But as you keep growing from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, as your RTOs and RPOs keep getting lower and lower, sorry, go back, please. Right. As your RTOs and RPOs keep getting slower, we have different technologies that can help you go in it, right? So don't think this as we have one solution and we'll just give it to you. Next slide, please. Benefits of Tierpoint, obviously, we have a dedicated team. We have experts who will do the implementation, who will do the management of it. We do the whole white glove treatment where we install it, we implement it, and at the time of test or disaster, right, we create the run books. We help you not just put up on the Tierpoint side if you have a disaster, but once you do fix whatever is going on production, we help you go back, right? Because remember, when the disaster strikes, you are now at Tierpoint side, you are running production on Tierpoint side. You still need to bring your actual production side up with whatever fiber cut, a fire, hard drive going down. Once you fix it, we help you go back and resume your business as usual. So we help you in all those things. Cindy, how are we looking with time? Are we okay? Am I talking too fast? I'm just trying to make sure that we
have about 2 or 3 minutes left before I have to take over for.
All right, so very quickly, let's go to the next one. Our main, our main recovery, we can just land over here is for DRES, we have Zerto, our product, which helps you not only do multiple VPGs, as in multiple groups where you can recover at different timing, but what it does is it helps you recover in minutes and seconds. So, depending on how many VMs you have, we can either recover you in a private cloud, we can help you recover in a multi-tenant cloud, which essentially means that I have a chassis and multiple clients live on it, but all your virtual resources are separate. So there is no noisy neighbor as such, but we also have backup as a service. We use Commvault. So you can help, if your recovery time is, hey, tape is fine, you can recover 12, 24 hours, we can help you recover with backup as a service. We also have M365 backup. We use Metallic. Uh, now by Commvault, we help you recover. If you have any I-series, we help you do your IBM recovery using Maxima or such things, right? So all those things that you see and underlying is the professional services. So if you don't need for 36 months help, but you only need help from professional services, the SOW, like a bucket of hours, help me implement this and go away, my team can take care of it. All the services that I listed above, the professional services can take care of it as sort of a bucket of hours, right? So um, uh, let me know if I still have time, or Cindy, you can take over from here.
I think I need to take over from here so we have enough time for Q&A.
Yeah.
So, but any questions for Ash on disaster recovery? And we can always skip back to that.
No, yeah. Okay, hey Cindy, we have, the first question was, does Tierpoint offer 2.2 MW of power? And I apologize, I don't know what MW is.
Megawatts.
Okay, I wanted to say that, but I thought, oh, I better stop.
Yes, we are specialists in high density colo, and we are in the process of acquiring additional large scale facilities. So we can absolutely, even right now, handle was it 2.5 megawatts?
Yes, oh, 2.2.
Yeah, absolutely. If we want to touch base after this call, we can let you know about the different locations. Typically when it's that scale, they're not very location sensitive, but that is something that Tierpoint can handle and we specialize in.
Okay, and next question is, do you have to be a colo client to request any of those professional services?
No.
I can jump on that. So we do that quite a bit where we work with companies. We do the assessment, we do the migration. So before they even sign with us for anything, that can be kind of like the try before you buy it. So yeah, if there is any sort of professional services talk track that you want us to get engaged on, we're happy to jump in there and provide any help. And just as an FYI, Cindy, I've put both those questions and the people that are asking those questions in our internal chat. So you got those, you can send.
Keep asking.
Exactly, perfect.
I've got a ton of gift cards, and hopefully everybody likes Starbucks. And if you don't like Starbucks, I'll send you Amazon. We'll do a choice.
And if you guys don't ask them, then Brent, Ash, and myself, we split them, right? So yeah.
So how can we make more money? So Claire's Partners, you are tied to the account, not the opportunity. Why that's important to you all. If you can get your foot in the door, let's say with a single cabinet or something, on average, the Tierpoint sellers, especially the ones on this call, are growing accounts by an average of 37%. So you don't need to be involved with the renewals. You're more than welcome to. But once you get your foot in the door with that client, we'll take it over. And then, like I said, renewal comes along, you're still tied for the life of that agreement. So that's really important because a lot of companies don't do that anymore. Marketing tools. We've worked with a lot of you on this call, but we've got email templates. TechTarget has actually been updated, and they will customize an email template based on what the person is researching, like it came from you. So it's pretty neat. If you guys haven't seen that, let's jump on a call. We can run through some TechTarget accounts. But basically, TechTarget is like Big Brother for marketing, and it lets us see down to the end user what people are researching. We can do co-branded material. I have tons of different email templates. We have account lists. We have Zoom info. We can generate lists for you, but there's so many things we can do to help be better partners for you all. One thing you guys, the other Tierpoint team touched on, but we can offer free public cloud cost containment assessments for your clients. And what that looks like is basically rerun a cloud checker for 2 weeks in a client's environment. Come back, on average, we're seeing about a savings of 30%. The client can take it, or they can do the management ongoing, which adds about 5%. And of those deals, of the public cloud cost containment assessments we're doing, we're closing 50% of those. So those are some easy wins because everybody I know has AWS or Azure. And then if anybody wants to go more in depth, we've got excellent technical resources. Ash has a wealth of knowledge, as you could see. But if you want to dive into any of the hot topics we talked about, or legacy IBM, or DRAS or ransomware, let us know and we can schedule those one-on-one trainings with you. All right, so we left just a few minutes for Q&A. So what questions does anybody have for us? Again, we're doing this $10 Starbucks gift cards. If you register an opportunity, like the person who brought up that they are looking for a house for 2.2 megawatts, we're going to send you a $50 gift card. And if you schedule a data center tour, whether it's in person or virtual, we're going to send you a $100 gift card.
Can customers acquire VMware license through Tierpoint?
No, so we are not resellers as such. But what if you want a solution with VMware, so if you want to host your production over here using VMware, we will provide the licensing for it, right? If you want to do DR for your VMware environment, so that we have a VMware environment on our side, whether private cloud, public cloud, we provide the licenses in that way. But just for you to use, we do not. We are a cloud service.
And on the cloud service provider side, we actually we got named one of VMware's top 12 partners there, so we get the best pricing for that compared to other cloud providers.
Yeah, and there was 4,400 cloud providers globally. So being named one of the top 12 in the United States is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing you mentioned is, how do you register an opportunity? So I act as an overlay. We do it based on where the partner is located. So if you're in Kansas City, it's easy. It goes to Brett. If you're in St. Louis, it's easy. It goes to Todd. Anything else, just send to me and I'll make sure you're with the appropriate rep.